Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate agent Sal Cefalu of Keller Williams based out of San Diego, California. Sal has been an agent for over 11 years with Keller Williams San Diego. He has been recognized as the #1 agent in their office for the past 5 consecutive years out of 200 and ranked in the top 3 for the Southern California Keller Williams agent. He is also among the top 1% of agents that have successfully handled multiple transactions over the $6 million price point. He has averaged 35-plus transactions annually over the past 6 years. His split is approximately 65% listing agent and 35% buyer's agent. Being born and raised in San Diego has made him a native to San Diego and its surrounding communities. He prides himself in personally attending to his buyers and sellers by having full knowledge of their transaction from start to finish, while always maintaining the highest level of integrity. All right, with all that said, Sal, welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here, Keith. Thank you.
Hey, Sal, if we could start for our listeners, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you always knew you wanted to do, or did you maybe stumble into it?
To be honest with you, more of a stumble into it. I was in the personal service industry or business for many years, and I owned a gym in San Diego. We were the #1 franchisee pretty much in domestic USA. I ran it, owned it, operated. And through the years, the business was deteriorating. And I was looking for a little bit more financial gumph, so to speak. I had 2 young little girls that I need to raise with my wife, and the gym just wasn't cutting it. And real estate seemed to be the logical choice for a career change and a pre-midlife crisis, I guess.
Excellent. And do you think you could talk a little bit about some of the personal attributes, traits, or qualities you think have most contributed to the success that you've had in real estate?
Respect. Honesty, ethical. Those are pretty much the key words. Always tell the truth. Always tell the truth. That's kind of the separation, I think, of a lot of agents of success, in my opinion. Keeping greed out of the way is another big one.
And do you think you could give our listeners an example of when these traits have played a role in your path towards success?
Now, being in real estate through many cyclical trends or cycles, I've seen agents, groups, and teams, they try to set the trend. They try to double end everything. They try to be the posturing agents at events or caravans. You know what? We're all agents. We're all the same. We're all in the same fishbowl. So you got to learn to work together. And that's pretty critical, too. A lot of agents don't like to work together. And if you've been in the business long enough, a lot of agents will alienate themselves through time.
Yeah, it seems like this day and age that the people, or at least the agents that we've had on this show and that have talked about collaborating. That there's a lot of business out there for everybody. So the old mindset of trying to be all secretive and keep everything to yourself versus collaborating, connecting, and maybe learning a new way or sharing ideas or hey, I have this, and do you have a buyer type thing. I think what you said there really can help people grow to. If they're willing to open up and collaborate and mastermind, per se, with other people.
I agree wholeheartedly. When I was in the gym business, it did kind of lead me into real estate because I was surrounded by so many realtors and brokers and investors. We were the place to be. So when I was in the gym, I'm sitting there and I'm seeing all these top agents who are in these magazines selling these multi-million-dollar homes. And I'm dealing with them on a day-to-day basis, not in real estate. And to be honest, I was less than impressed. I'm going, wow, this person's making $500,000, $1 million a year. Socially retarded to a certain point, not an ounce of respect, a bully. And seeing that, I'm like, nah, if you treat people a little bit better, you'll go a little bit farther. And I've taken that motto, don't take anything for granted. Keep it the KISS philosophy, keep it simple, stupid. It is a rule and a principle that, we don't need to overcomplicate.
Absolutely. And so I think with all success, not everything always comes, with an easy, simple path to get there. So do you think you could talk a little bit about some of the adversities or trials that you had to overcome in order to achieve your goals?
Oh, yeah. Plenty of adversities, plenty. Being a new agent, people not knowing who you are or what you are made of. I've had some of the top agents in this town threaten me verbally. One told me, hey, if you write this offer and we accept it and you do not perform, you'll never be allowed to write an offer in this pocket of town. Agent goes, it's a very small community. I know everybody. I will blackball you. That made me scratch my head. Another agent, I wanted to give him a referral on a listing, and I had thousands of dollars of professional photos, knowledge of this property because I've been so detailed and involved from start to finish. I call him up. I say, hey, I have a potential listing. Would you be interested? I'll put you in front of the line with the developer. And he calls me back and goes, you could do nothing for me. Thank you. Hung up on me. I just sat there dumbfounded. But it's made me learn, respect everybody because what comes around goes around in the business.
Yeah, well, that's pretty harsh. You think, in the first scenario, you think maybe they'd be like, hey, I want to work together. Let's make sure we can get this deal to go through, not like, posturing and threatening. And then the second one, just to be so full of yourself that you don't even want to listen to, what you're bringing to the table. I mean, that's a lot of attitude, I guess, and ego to deal with there.
Yeah. Being in San Diego, regardless the marketplace, because San Diego's got hundreds of little micro markets. Unlike a lot of other communities, I have done real estate in the Bay Area several times. It's just as volatile up there. Every the haves and the have-nots, and the haves, they want to keep having. So they have to be nasty to keep having. They'll continue that trend. But in my personal markets, where I've been working for the last several years, I've seen, how would you say, the cyclical change of agents who was top for the last 2 years is now come and gone, flash in the pan. And that's one thing I'm trying not to be. I'm trying to be the more consistent, day in, day out, take it on the chin, good or bad.
And I guess, Sal, as you started to hit these obstacles, what kept you going? I mean, to come up against that and the attitudes, the egos, and being the new agent trying to make your way, and why didn't you give up?
I'm going to guess it's a lot of just how I was raised as a child, to be honest with you. Being told that you will, rather than won't. My previous business, I was like a Cinderella. I was the one always at the shop, always working, always doing, and I never really reaped any of the benefits nor accolades. I just kept driving, just grinding, and that is ultimately, I think, what makes someone in real estate is you got to be able to accept rejection. I tell people I wasn't the most attractive person growing up, and I was used to rejection, so real estate suits me well because you don't know you're in the game, so to speak, until you're told no about 10 times and someone's in your back pocket trying to take your wallet out of you.
So I guess, kind of looking forward, what's your vision for your business and your career over the next 5 years?
So been in the business roughly, 11 years and have seen various cycles, trends. I've had a small REO team. I got involved in REOs when they came. I got on the tail end, so I wasn't one of those fat on the hog, so to speak. Saw that trend. Don't know if I like the exposure of having 100 listings, even though I had like 20 tops in the REO days. I worked for one of the biggest flippers in California for a couple of years before flipping was popular. And ultimately, I want to keep where I'm going and potentially slow it down. I have a buyer's agent that I do have that I throw him leads, let him work with some of my clients. I see a lot of older agents still in it. It's kind of too easy to keep making money. Not to be, I don't know if that's lazy or a retort, but I'd like to stay in it, but maintaining the production that I've been doing over the last 6 years, it's brutal. It's tough. It wears on the family. It's smidgenly financial rewarding, but sometimes life and family are above money, to be honest. They are.
Absolutely. And I guess kind of on top of that, what do you feel is the best way that you market yourself as a real estate professional so that you can have continual growth?
Try to make a lasting impression on a client. I'm not that agent that, as soon as we're in escrow or closing escrow, I'm not that agent that's going to say, hey, by the way, do you know someone? I don't do that. I try to keep it very professional. I do keep it professional. It's not that I try. I always keep it professional. I want them to know that, geez, Sal did a top-notch job. Sal was there for me. Sal answered the phone. Not that, oh, Sal bought me this knife with my name engraved, or he did this, or he gave me, a gift. Kill him with service and kindness. They'll come back.
I think sometimes that, from a market standpoint, when people look at real estate agents, sometimes they don't really understand everything that they do and everything they bring to the table from a value standpoint. What do you think the biggest misconception or myth people have about working with a real estate agent?
I stumbled into that yesterday. I went to interview for a listing. It was a $1.2+ million house. Owner's an accountant. First words out of his mouth, I'm not paying $60,000 in commissions. That's a whole bunch of money. And I'm going, hey, sometimes we have what's called or known as the cost of doing business. I started explaining to him the nuances of the transaction. Started explaining to him, the value of the negotiation, the value of the agent, the value of the details, the values of the strategist. He got it towards the end, and then he goes, well, and I offered. I said, hey, you know what? I've known the gentleman through previous clients and friends, and I said, I'm willing to work a little, but I can't give you a massive discount because in the transaction, there's always something that comes up. You want to do a rent back. Who's going to pay the rent? Nobody wants to pay, but everybody wants top dollar. I mean, deals they do not go in chronological order. It goes from A to Z, back to B to T. There's no rhyme, rhythm, or reason. It's an emotional game. So you need to have your head more or less on a bobblehead and be prepared to get sideswiped, kicked, jumped. So I tried to illustrate to him, and he did catch it, but he ultimately was still a little hardened at the dollars that agents make. I'm like, that's the difference between a good one and a bad one sometimes.
Absolutely, yeah. So let's say you get a call from a family member or a friend, and they're in another state, and they want to sell their home. And obviously, with your connections and being part of Keller Williams with their, massive network, you could probably easily do a referral or look up an agent. But from a general advice standpoint, what advice would you give them about selecting an agent that could best serve their needs? Kind of how you make sure you take care of your people. What would you tell them to look for?
A lot of times I hate to go back to the simple stupid rule, but your gut, intuition, you can't beat intuition. A conversation, a face-to-face with that person will go miles. Go miles. I was taught as a kid from an uncle who was he was very successful, and I tried to grab certain bits of knowledge. And his first thing he told me, he goes, whenever you meet somebody, look down at their shoes. He goes, that tells you a lot about a person. And he goes, just the simple things. Look down the shoes, then make sure their buttons on their shirt line up with their belt buckles. He goes, make sure the person's not disheveled. Make sure they're confident, shoulders squared back. The basic things that a lot of people should be learned and taught as children. In the rural world, a lot of it's overlooked, I think. And it's basics and integrity.
Excellent advice for people to take a look at. Now, Sal, obviously we know you're based out of the San Diego, California area. So if somebody's looking for real estate services or an agent in that general area, what's the best way they can find out more information about you and how you can help them?
I'm easy to find. My name is Sal, obviously, so I have a website called salsellsd.com or my cell phone. Text or phone call, 858-243-4554.
Excellent. Well, Sal, obviously we want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come here today and share all your professional real estate experience with all of our listeners. And if you're listening and you want to learn more about Sal, you can obviously visit his site, like you said. Also below this interview, we'll have a link to his site, his phone number, and any other contact information we have, so you can get in touch with him and learn more about how he can help you with your real estate needs. So with all that said, everybody, until our next show, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much, Keith. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.